What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a little different. We're actually going to be talking about the Lexus. I might be selling it this weekend, so I wanted to make this video before I let it go. I'm going to go over the 5 things that I loved and hated about owning this car. Maybe some of you guys are looking for a 3rd gen IS, or some of you are just looking for a new daily. We're going to go over why I believe this is one of the best dailies you can own. But before we do that, I want to give you guys a quick rundown of the car. So this right here is our 2014 Lexus IS 350 F Sport all-wheel drive. We've owned this car for the past 7 years, and it's been our primary vehicle all this time. We purchased it completely stock with 15,000 miles, and it currently sits at 146. During our ownership, I did lower it on RSR springs. I think that's the only other video I made of this thing on the channel. But besides the springs, I also added some H&R spacers just to make it sit a little more flush. And then also this little easy lip on the front just to make it look a little more sleek. But besides that, the car is pretty much stock. To be honest, owning this car has been pretty good for the most part, but there are some things that I really did hate about it. So let's jump into the first reason of why we love this car and one of the main reasons we purchased it. So the first pro of owning this car is obviously the reliability. If you guys know me, I'm a huge fan of JDM cars, and the reason being is they're just extremely reliable. Having put almost 150,000 miles on this car, we essentially had no major issues. The maintenance has been super simple. Everyone knows how reliable Lexuses and Toyotas are, and I can definitely confirm that. The only maintenance we've done is just your basic oil change, tires, air filter. I did the spark plugs once at I think like 60K or something, but besides that, the car's been a solid daily driver. No oil leaks, nothing funny like that. Even at 150,000 miles, I still have a ton of confidence in this car, and I would drive it across the country tonight if I had to. So yeah, that's the main reason we purchased this car. Is just, we wanted something reliable and something we didn't have to always work on, and it definitely worked out for us. So if you guys are looking for a reliable vehicle, definitely go with a Toyota or a Lexus. They've proven themselves and you can't go wrong. Another thing that we really loved about this car was obviously the speedometer. It's very unique. You don't see it very often. It's a Lexus LFA inspired, and it's really cool that they implemented it into the 3rd gen IS. There's this little button on the steering wheel right here that you can hit. The whole thing shifts over and you have a whole menu with a bunch of information about the car. You do your maintenance history in here and whatnot. But yeah, just really cool. It's not digital. You hit the button, the whole thing actually shifts over. So it's really cool that they did this. It's a feature I'm definitely gonna miss. So since we're already talking about the interior, the third thing that we really loved about this car is obviously the red interior and just the quality of the leather. So this car is about 10 years old at this point, and surprisingly, the leather held up extremely well. So all the bolsters here look really good. You know, getting in and out of this car thousands of times, they held up really well. I always rest my elbow right here on the center console, and this leather didn't crack, held up pretty nice. The door panel as well, my elbow's always resting here. No imperfections or damage or anything like that. I never once applied any kind of leather treatment or conditioning to these seats. Literally didn't do anything to them. Just drove the car every day, and they held up really nice. So if you guys are worried about having beat up interior, you don't really need to do that with these cars, because the leather is actually really good quality. If you compare it to the BMW, it's way better. That BMW leather, complete trash compared to this stuff right here. So big thumbs up to Lexus for having quality leather. All right, so coming back to the exterior, this is the 4th reason, and also one of the main reasons we purchased this car. It's just the exterior design. We really fell in love with the front end of this thing. The headlights look really cool, the daytime running lights right there. I was a little iffy about the grille at first, but it really grew on me, and I just fell in love with this front end. Just looks really good, super cool design. The F Sport wheels that are gunmetal, also a super cool touch. Coming to the back of the car, the taillights we also fell in love with. I love this little curve right here and how all of this just kind of follows the body line. Overall, it's just a really good looking car. To this day, even though we've owned it for 7 years, every time we park it, we just look back at it and we're like, dang, this thing looks good. So I'm definitely gonna miss seeing this thing parked up in the driveway. And maybe someday we'll own another one, because I don't know, I just really love how these things look. So one of the last things we really liked about this car was the Sport and Sport Plus mode. So I believe all the Lexuses come with a Sport mode, but the IS 350 F Sport specifically comes with a Sport Plus mode, which It stiffens your suspension, it makes your steering wheel a little more stiff and your throttle a little more responsive. So With this car being lowered, obviously your ride quality goes down. So being able to throw it in Sport Plus and the suspension stiffen a little bit was definitely nice to have. Also, when you put it in Sport, the speedometer just completely changes and it just looks way cooler. So I always kept this thing in Sport. If you guys ever want to go hit some twisties in the mountain, put this thing in Sport and you can definitely have some fun with it. All right, so now that we got all the good stuff out of the way, let's jump into all the cons of owning this car, and there's actually a handful. All right, so the first con of owning this car, and I'd probably say it's the biggest con, the front tires. So for some reason, these cars have really bad inner tire wear. And I know my car is lowered, but from all the research I've done, it happens with stock cars as well. Probably the all-wheel drive models a little more often than the rear-wheel drive, but yeah, these things just eat your tires up on the inside. And the reason for that is the lower control arm bushing is just a really bad design. So every time you're accelerating or coming to a stop, cornering, that bushing kind of moves around and that's what eats your tires up. There is a fix for that. There's a company that sells the upgraded bushings. It'll probably cost you about $350 to $400. I was supposed to do it a long time ago. I just never got around to doing it. So I paid the price and just went through tires consistently. The front tires would last me maybe 15,000 miles and I'd have to swap them out. So I've probably gone through about 10 tires up front. It's definitely something I'm not gonna miss about owning this car. If you guys are gonna own one of these, just keep that in mind. I'd probably upgrade that bushing. That way you don't go through so many tires and you'll probably be fine. So the second thing that we really hated about this car was the navigation, entertainment, or infotainment system. So it's a very common issue with the third gen ISs. The 2014 model, probably a little more common, but the navigation system just always restarts. So it started years ago where it would just randomly restart once in a while. And then it just became a little more consistent, and it's gotten to the point where every time we're driving this car, the radio just cuts out every minute or so and just keeps restarting. So just keep that in mind. If you guys are looking for one of these, I highly recommend staying away from the 2014 models. Everything after the 2014 model should be a little better, but it's also an issue to just keep in mind because that's just a known issue that these cars have. The navigation system will keep going out. From the dealership, it'll probably cost you a couple $1,000s to fix, but there is a service on eBay that I believe does it for about $800. I just never got around to doing it, but something for you guys to just keep in mind. And as I was just talking about that, there it goes. It just restarted. So we'll see if it fires up. It's loading, and then at times it would just cut out right there and just restart again. So it's a super annoying issue. I kind of got used to it, but now that I'm selling the car, I definitely had to lower the price just because of this one specific issue. So the third thing that I really hated about this car was the cup holders. It was just extremely uncomfortable. It's a terrible location. Every time I rested my elbow here, if there was a drink in the cup holder, it would kind of just get in the way. And anytime I tried holding my wife's hand, it would always have to be like really awkward and just kind of curved like this because just always get in the way. So definitely don't like this design. I prefer having the cup holders up front. If you like holding your girl's hand, your wife's hand, whatever, definitely recommend finding a different car because this gets extremely annoying and it's something I'm not gonna miss at all. So the fourth thing that we really didn't like about this car, no cooled seats. So the 2014 model comes with heated seats. It doesn't have cooled seats. It also doesn't have a heated steering wheel. So once again, I recommend staying away from the 2014 models. I did not know this when I bought this car, but everything after the 2014 has cooled seats and heated steering wheel. It's definitely nice to have cooled seats in the summer, a heated steering wheel on a cold winter morning. Something that we missed out on and it definitely sucked not having, so keep that in mind. All right, so the last con of owning this car, the brakes. So for some reason, these things just love to squeak. I don't know if it's just a Lexus thing, but I swear every time I'm in the public parking lot or at the store or whatever, I hear a brake squeak, I look over, it's a Lexus. Even if you put fresh rotors and pads on, after a couple of drives, they will squeak. Every time I'm backing this thing out of the driveway, it squeaks. I put it into drive, the first time I hit the brake, it'll squeak and then it'll kind of go away. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's extremely annoying. My sister has the same car, my neighbor has the same car, and I swear I hear their brakes squeak all the time. I don't know what Lexus did. I don't know what causes it. They just love to squeak for some reason. So that was one thing that was really annoying about this car, and also not gonna miss that at all. So with all that being said, I still believe this is one of the best dailies you can get. Even though I just showed you guys all the cons, if you guys are looking into one of these cars, I highly recommend it. I'd probably just go with like a 2015 Plus. If all the little cosmetic things that I mentioned don't annoy you, then this is the perfect daily. I'm definitely gonna miss having this thing, and if the BMW gives me issues down the road, I definitely see myself getting back into one of these someday, probably just like a newer generation. It's been an awesome 7 years with this car. Never really gave me any issues besides going through a bunch of tires and whatnot. Overall, it's a solid daily. Hopefully this video helped someone that's looking into getting one of these cars, and if not, hopefully you guys just enjoyed watching this video and hearing me ramble about the 3rd gen Lexus IS. We're gonna go meet up with someone that's potentially gonna buy this thing right now, and this might be the last day with her. I'm definitely gonna miss it. Good car. All right, she's officially sold. I'm gonna miss this car. It's been a good car. Are you low-key kind of sad?
I am. That was my baby.
That was your baby, but we got F80 now. It's F80 time.